Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. Today is January 16th, 2025. Hi, I'm Ms. Steph, former laboratory scientist and former after school director for a community nonprofit here in Harlem, turned nonprofit founder and STEAM education consultant. So we inspire, empower, and encourage young people to go into the STEAM field, STEAM being science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Today, I'm here with you to give you a quick little update on the news and just a reminder of what we've got going on and coming up here in the Miss Steph Science Club community. And I will also be doing an activity with you. We are going to take the items in this bag and build a structure. So this video is for grown-ups. Yes, so though I'm going to do a STEAM project, this video is for grown-ups. I'm going to be focusing on supporting you all in trying these things with your students, whether they be young people in your Saturday program per se, like I have one, okay? Like my Saturday program, or your after-school program, or your in-home daycare, or maybe you run a homeschool collaborative, right? Because more and more of our communities are seeking to do homeschool. And so sometimes you're wondering, maybe you might not be your own type of scientist, or rather you might not consider yourself a scientist, and you're trying to think about, how can I do science activities with the youth? Well, guess what? I'm here to give you those ideas. So once again, welcome to Live with Ms. Steph on January 16, 2025. That's when this is being filmed. And I am coming in to you live from my home studio, also known as the Science Club office. All right, important things that are coming up. January 18th, 2025, from 12 to 2 p.m., we will be having our weekly, I don't know why the chat is disabled, but anywho, we'll be having our weekly Saturday Science Club, right? So Saturday Science Club runs on first, second, and third Saturdays from 12 to 2 p.m. at Wadley. That's on 114th Street right here in Harlem, between Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard and Frederick Douglass Boulevard, also known as 7th and 8th Avenues. All right. And so we, if you want to be really specific, on the north side of the street. And so we meet up there and we do a great STEAM play time, meaning I set up different centers, different tables and areas that children come on in. The students that are invited are everybody. Ages 5 to 10, that's our drop-off age, and that's the age that the activities are geared towards. So when I say geared towards, can the younger sibling of, say, your 6-year-old come with you? Yes, but you or a trusted adult family member needs to stay with that younger sibling, because the setup and the insurances and all the legal things are set up in such a way that we only receive drop-off students from ages 5 to 10. Can your 11 or 12-year-old attend? Sure, you can bring them. I had a family inquire concerning that recently, and so this note is for y'all. You can try it. Bring them. I would suggest that you stay with them in case they decide they kind of want to leave early. Some 12-year-olds have hung out and had a great time for a couple of weeks, but they tend to not desire to stay for a long period of time, meaning like what they have already learned is typically above what the activities are, because the activities that I've designed is to introduce your young person to STEAM education in a fun and positive way. I am wanting them to get a chance to explore, to touch physics and do chemistry and biology, which is kind of our main three things that almost all the sciences can fit somewhere, or into those three buckets, right? Because chemistry is the study of how chemicals interact with each other. Biology is the study of living things, and physics is the study of motion. So if you can imagine, almost all sciences fit somewhere in there, and then the applied sciences use the information from one of those three main buckets and apply it, right? And say, hey, how can I use this information to move it forward? Another main bucket of science would be mathematics. Yes, math is its own science. Okay. If you look up the definition, go ahead, look it up if you want to. What is mathematics? The definition that I teach my students during summer camp, it's the science of numbers, meaning how do numbers relate? Science, the basic definition of science that we use in Miss Steph's Science Club is that it is the study of the natural world, the patterns that we see. Science observes and says, oh, I noticed that when I take this and I let it go, okay, that there's a pattern. Typically, it will drop to what we consider the ground. FYI, it is actually moving at a specific amount of acceleration towards the center of the most massive thing, which would be the center of the earth. Okay. And so those are the things that we do. We introduce them to all of the things and say, hey, have fun with it. We set up, like I said, we set up centers, and there are different activities. I just want to make sure that my phone is not going to make a bunch of noise while we're on. We set up various activities and let the children explore them in a safe way, and they get an opportunity to be independent as they're working. And they get an opportunity to, just have fun, to really have a fun interaction with the sciences. That's what we're trying to do when it comes to Miss of Science Club. We make science fun. That is our tagline. It has been our tagline ever since I started it. That's what I wanted to do. Because so many folks I meet out there in the world, they're like, oh, I wish you were my science teacher. And I'm like, how was your science teacher not fun? I don't have a comprehension of how science can't be fun. Like, how do you make science not fun? What are you doing? Anywho, so this is me coming on, giving you ideas, not only information about Miss Steph Science Club and our schedule. Like I said, this coming Saturday, January 18th, 12 to 2 p.m., we have our event, our kind of like thing that we do first, second, and third Saturdays, which is our Saturday Science Club. It is free. Hi, yes, in case you didn't know, free for participants. And we want to make sure that you get an opportunity to come and enjoy what we're providing. And so that's why it's free for participants. For those of you who engage in supporting us, one of the things you support is that program, because that program is, of course, not free for us as Triple F Empowerment Inc. There are costs associated with it: materials costs, staffing cost, materials cost, staffing costs. Those are the main things that, in all seriousness, those are the main things that your support goes towards when we're talking about Saturday program. And the development of the activities that we do here. And today I'll be showing you one of the activities that I've been doing over the years with folks. I do it in different ways depending on the age group of the students and depending on how I am present in the space. So if we're doing it as what I call a science play thing, I pass out the materials and I say, build me something. And I give them certain constraints. Engineering, that's a nod to engineering. So today's activity is going to be primarily an engineering activity. Of course, we hit all the layers of STEAM pretty much every time we get together. That's what we do at Saturday Science Club, especially. Each station, there's at least one station that focuses on one of the letters, right? And other things that we've got coming up would be our Summer Science Club 2025. Open registration will be an open call for children ages 5 to 10. For those of you interested in registering your child, And you might not, if you're not already in our ecosystem, definitely go to www.tfempowerment.org and sign up for our contact. Fill out the contact form to make sure that you tell me, hey, Ms. Steph, I want to be on your email blast, so that when open registration occurs, I send you an email. Okay. When different events happen, I send you an email. When we have a call for volunteers, when we have a call for donors, all of those things, we function as a community, right? Miss Steph Science Club provides hands-on STEAM education to young people through camp, classes, community, and consulting. And so to be able to have a thriving community, we definitely need to make sure that we have your contact information. If you would like to be a part of the text updates that we send out, make sure you put in your phone, your cell phone number. If you don't want to be a part of it, just simply don't add your cell phone number. All right. We additionally, in addition to our Saturday Science Club, I'm a teacher, so I'm gonna make sure that we review and make sure that everybody knows what's going on. So Saturday Science Club, January 18th, that's the very next one that we will do. The one after that will be on the first Saturday, because we don't meet on fourth Saturday. On fourth Saturday, we have special things that tend to happen. Okay. The one after that will be on February 1st, very start of February. And then we will proceed on. And of course, again, like I said, if you get into our contact sheets and so forth, I will make sure that you are aware. Another way to stay updated, if you decide, oh, I don't really want to sign up for the emails, even though I really strongly suggest that you sign up for our emails, because that's the easiest way to be advised of the things that are going on, and then therefore govern yourselves accordingly. Okay. But to do that, to have another way to keep up to date with us is you can simply follow me, Miss Steph, the Science Lady, on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is MSSTEPH_TFE. Miss Steph, Triple F Empowerment Inc. Just in case you kind of just so that you're aware. It helps folks, right? It helps you to know why people's Instagram handles are what they are, what made that up, why I decided to do it that way. That's why MSSTEPH_TFE. That's how you can follow on Instagram if you decide that you would not like to get the weekly updates that we're sending out for our newsletter that we're publishing on a weekly basis now. It's just a quick, this is what's going on. Save this date, because you want to know about these things. Information about our event that we have been invited to participate in on February 22nd will start to be populating. I'll start to send that out soon as well. Once we have all the information, they are making a new flyer and all that type of stuff. And we will start to be tagged by that organization. And that event is going to be free to the public. That's going to be one of our first fourth Saturday events that we'll be doing this year. Fourth Saturday, as you can tell, is reserved for community events, for us to be out and about in the community. Because again, hands-on STEAM education through camp, classes, community, and consulting. So we have to make sure that we hit that C, that community C. So yeah, what else shall I talk about? Summer Science Club. So like I said, to make sure you get notified, I'm telling you, if I were you, I would just sign up for the emails. Okay. But if you want to hold the dates for Summer Science Club so that you have yourself ready, okay, Summer Science Club will run from July 7th through August 8th. Your child needs to be ages 5 to 10 to participate in our open registration portion that we'll be doing, ages 5 to 10. Okay, for Summer Science Club. And we will be doing it at our same location that we did it for the last 2 summers, and all that will be out and sent to you. same price and everything. For those of you who like to support us during Summer Science Club or for Summer Science Club, that is actually already available to you. Again, hop online and click the donate button, and you will be taken to our current fundraising page, Fuel the Future 2025. And supporting Fuel the Future 2025, you will be given options. If you click that you want to donate, you'll be given specific options to be able to support the programming that we do specifically in the summer. And once again, Summer Science Club will run from July 7th through August 8th. We have 5 weeks. We have a science week, technology week, engineering week, arts week, and a mathematics week. We will be going on our annual field trip during the last week to Liberty Science Center. Like, we don't do Summer Science Club except during the COVID years. Summer Science Club without that Liberty Science Center field trip, that is a tradition. And actually, even we had one situation to where we had to postpone it, and child, we still went in September. We still made sure that we had that Summer Science Club. We still had that field trip for our annual Liberty Science Center field trip. And there were some years when we went twice a year. I took Saturday Science Club to Liberty Science Center. And so, yes, all of those things will be happening. Field trips are included, and so that's one of the reasons and one of the things that you can have your funds earmarked towards. If you would like to say, hey, how much does it cost to sponsor a field trip? If you would like to fully sponsor a field trip, that is available to you as well. Some folks want to help, and so it is incumbent upon me to make sure you know how to help and to make sure that you are aware that we are open and available to you for that assistance, specific assistance. So yeah, did I cover everything? We've got Saturday Science Club. We have our weekly newsletter that we got going on. We've got a save the date, February 22nd. There is an event that's happening and information will be coming out to you. I've let you know how to follow me if you choose not to sign up at www.tfempowerment.org/contact. If you decide not to sign up through that way to get more and more information about what we're doing and to get reminders to let you know when we're doing what we're doing so you don't forget and so you and your family don't miss out on the science fun. But if you decide that you would prefer to just follow me on Instagram, where you will get daily updates, where it's an easy way for you to get daily updates, you can do that. You can follow me at MSSTEPH_TFE. Once again, that's MSSTEPH_TFE. Miss Steph, Triple F Empowerment Inc. All righty then. So yes. I think that's all we need to cover before we hop right into this STEAM activity. So how is it science? We are going to be discussing the characteristics of Play-Doh, the materials that you are going to need. Can you make your own Play-Doh? Yes, you can. This particular activity does not require, there are certain activities that I suggest and I say, hey, go ahead and buy some manufactured Play-Doh. And sometimes I'm even specific enough to tell you which brand of Play-Doh I suggest that you use. This is not a sponsored video. And yes, I am using the actual Hasbro Play-Doh. Do you have to use it for this activity? No. You can choose to make your own Play-Doh. And like I said, we're going to do as promised. That in itself is a science experiment. What sound does it make when I open? Listen. When I close. When I open. Close. Science is everywhere. And art is everywhere, right? And so you could use, this could turn into an art project. As far as you can decorate this and all that type of stuff, but even just Sound, right? You can explore sound as I'm thinking of it with your young people, depending on what age group you're working with. Remember, these are some teacher tips. I'm going into the lesson now, so buckle up and let's go. All right. You could add different liquids. That's another thing you could test and see if all the liquids make the same thing. If the sound changes depending on the amount of liquid, and then therefore the amount of open space, the amount of air that's now left in the container. That's a freebie. That's not even the main activity. Okay. But Play-Doh is one of some form of Play-Doh, Dough. I happen to be using Play dash DOH as far as because I'm choosing to use that name brand, but you don't have to. You do need some Play-Doh. I like to give the children a choice of the color of Play-Doh that they are using. You need about a third of the canister, so 1 ounce. These are three. These happen to be 3 ounce canisters. 1 ounce. Be advised, this Play-Doh is not gluten-free, so that's one of the safety concerns that you need to have in mind because some of our students are that sensitive to wheat and or gluten. Gluten is in wheat. Okay. And then, of course, wheat is its own thing together. But just keep in mind and find out what kind of allergies you have. If you want to be super safe, I do have some gluten-free recipes. And basically, it's the conditioner Play-Doh. So just type in conditioner Play-Doh on like any of my platforms and you can grab that. Or you can use my recipe or you can use other people's stuff. But okay. Then you need craft sticks. You can use your regular Dega craft sticks, basic ones, or popsicle sticks. They used to be called popsicle sticks when I was a child. Yes, I'm a Gen Xer, in case you didn't catch that. I'm a young Gen Xer, but I'm definitely a Gen Xer. Based on my lived experience, child, things I can tell you. I like to start with 4, and you'll see why. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use the jumbo ones if you want to. But as you're talking about things that are easy to procure, grab them. Okay, so see, this one is a little off. I prefer to use with all of them looking the same. Okay, does it matter? No. So these are just kind of your regular ones. Next material. Y'all have seen me use these plates before, especially for my folks who've been watching my lives on Instagram. Okay, you have seen me use these plates before. Do you have to use these special plates? No, you're going to see why I'm using these and why they're so easy to use, and it's going to help the students do certain things. The activity I'm showing you can be differentiated for children as young as 2, all the way to however you want to go. You can decide that you're going to do a physics challenge, actually like an entry level physics professor probably could use this. Teacher tip. I'm just telling you, could use this activity. All right. Next thing, do you see the different color craft sticks? I ordered these, and these came in this week. This is comment. I don't prefer this particular one. I don't even remember. It's some nondescript random ones I got on Amazon. And I ordered 1,000 and once because y'all know I work with a lot of kids, so I need a lot of Play-Doh. I had to order 36 canisters of Play-Doh, people. So I already went through just today alone. I already went through. I didn't throw some away, but I disposed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 full canisters, and I only had 2 classes today, and I did, and they were small classes of 2-year-olds, and then 1 class of like 2 to 5-year-olds. So yes, like I'm going through a lot of materials. So that's why I'm saying when you're donating and you're supporting, you are paying for materials because it's that many materials that we're using. And then we'll use this again on Saturday, and I'm using this tomorrow. Okay. Shout out to the person who's watching. Thank you so much for watching live with Miss Steph. So yeah, something's going on with my chat situation. Apologies. I kind of wanted to have the chat available, but such is life. So yeah, so Play-Doh. I'm using the brand name Play-Doh. You don't have to. Okay. I'm starting off with 4 of these sticks, and these are just a regular size. You notice, see, but you can use jumbo craft sticks if that's what you've got at home. Because again, this lesson, I'm gearing it towards everybody. These are my teacher tips for this lesson. And then I like to add in a little spice and use the craft sticks that have come with the colors, right? So I'm going to take 3 of those. Okay. Oh, we lost our person. No. Hopefully you'll come back, but thank you for watching. All right, then. So yeah, I have 4. I'm going to take half. Remember, I'm using about an ounce. You can get 3 uses. Okay. I'm going to take half of that Play-Doh. Okay. In this video, if you're watching and you're a kid, you can watch it, but this is geared towards teachers and after-school directors. Okay. So I'm going to take half, separate 4 equal pieces. Okay. Take my plate. Remember, you do not have to use this type of plate, but you'll see why. You have the kids, you're going to have them place it into the corners. So if you have 2-year-olds, do not do all this. Have them play with the Play-Doh and stick the sticks wherever they want to put the sticks. Ages 3 to 5, you're going to have them do this. Okay? Older students we'll talk about in a moment. Okay? Boom. 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 Okay? Now, this is where not only some creativity comes in, but technique comes in. Because then you tell them to bend and to kind of like tilt so that you get a point. Now we explore M. What shape do you see? Triangle. Okay. Now we take part of this Play-Doh, this piece of Play-Doh. Okay. I'm tilting down so you can see it. I'm going to put this here. I want you to be able to see. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do this. Y'all saw that? Yeah, engineering. Okay. Tilt. This is challenging for children because if I'm too firm with this, it is going to fall. And so you're going to continue to encourage them. You're going to say, it's okay. Keep going. Right? Separate that. Press. So you see how you have to hold and then press. That again is challenging for children. Can you imagine? For your 3s and 5s? Now, at this point, you can do whatever you want in your lesson. It's your lesson. At this point, you can now introduce. You can pass these out however you want. You can pass everything out at the beginning of the lesson. I don't suggest doing that with anybody under the age of 7. Like seriously. But you can say, oh, let me pass these things out all at one time and go for it. Build me something. Build something for yourself, okay? For mommy, for dad, grandma, anybody, okay? Right? We acknowledge that families have different structures. And so some kids may not live with their parents, right? And so you want to acknowledge that. You don't want to exclude them. And, you know, it's always best to just kind of basically let them mention who they would like to make their particular item for, right? But you definitely want to stop here, take a beat, make sure that the children, right? Isn't that cool? Okay. Get to have a discussion. You can discuss states of matter. I had one center that I have one center that I go to where they have another individual that comes in and does certain science activities with them in addition to myself, because a lot of places don't have their own like person on staff, and so we push in and support. And hey, the more the merrier. So I come in and do a lot of process stuff with them, and the other person does as well. But that person's track right now, my track right now is engineering and electricity. Okay, that's what I'm doing. But that person is talking to them about matter and the forms of matter, the states of matter. States of matter, like, are very involved in, like, to do STEAM. You are always considering, whether you know it or not, or really actively you're doing it or not, you're always considering the state of matter and how that impacts what you're doing, right? And so, especially with very young children who are just learning about it, what state of matter does each of these fall into? Pretty much all of these are solids, right? This is a bit of a squishy solid, but it keeps its volume. It can be manipulated into another shape, but eventually, when it dries, it keeps its shape, right? And so those are, Play-Doh is one of the things that's a bit of a non-Newtonian kind of situation, and that goes into some other conversations, but it's super fun. But what state of matter is it, and have that discussion with them, and why is that important, and how do we use that to create our structure? Okay. And then now you can start to introduce trying to add these three embellishments, right? Depending on what age group you're working with. So now let's talk about, say, if you're working with older children, okay? You want them to, you can do this activity 1 week and get them started on learning how to use the materials. And then say the next week, have them design something for you and make them go through the engineering design process. And when I'm saying older children, I'm talking, it's challenging to have, say, third and fourth grade is kind of when it's like, depending on what your students can do, you could attempt to have third and fourth graders do design in advance, right? But fifth grade is when that happens. They may push back with you, though. Be advised. Be ready for that and be okay with that. They may be very uncomfortable with that because we've done all this, like, this is how it is, kind of like up to that point. And then now it's like, okay, I need you to like think critically and attempt to do certain things. They might be uncomfortable with that. Be okay with them being uncomfortable and support them in it, right? Supported independence. Remember, I talked to you all about that, how I have that theory. I like to do that. So yeah, so like I said, if you're working with older children, this project looks simple. This project can be a one afternoon thing, or this can now be 3 weeks of stuff. 1 week, you have them do really a lot of guided practice. Right now, we're getting into the much older students, but you can do talking teacher. This is why I'm saying this video. Hi, kids, if you're watching, but this video is really for the grown-ups who work with children, right? So you can do guided practice, like I just said, you walk them through each step. Then you say, depending on how much time you have, whether or not this activity can carry several weeks past, you decide, oh, I want to either have them simply embellish, which is what I did today with some of my 3s and 4s. I said, okay, look, take this and add. Strategically place, make a decision where you want your embellishment to be, but it can't look like somebody else's, which is what I told them. I said, we talked about uniqueness because we talked about being unique last week. And I gave them the constraint that they needed to use all of their materials. So I still have a little piece of Play-Doh left, right? I can separate it, I can add, but I need to strategically place stuff. And it needs to be stable. That's a whole nother conversation you can have, say, with, say, your second, third, and fourth graders, that it needs to be a stable structure, okay? See, I'm still thinking I am being creative. Art. I get to be creative. I get to place things wherever I want to place them. And then you can let it dry. It's a part of the structure. And then you want to be really specific with your constraint as far as like where, like if you tell them kind of it can go anywhere, right? Then you may have a kid that they say, okay, so if you say anywhere, that's a part of my structure if I'm going to place it there. Okay. But like I said, third and fourth grade, you can give them materials. I would say give them materials and have them build, give them a certain amount of time to build, whether you not want it to be an individual project or a project with the group, and then they need to draw it. And several of them will tell you, I can't. And then you tell them try. And you tell them to write sentences about it. Give them an amount of sentences. Right? All of these are constraints. All of this is teaching the engineering design process and the idea that engineering always has constraints. There's always certain things, whether it be budget, whether it be the materials, whether it be the amount of time that you have to build it, whether it be, it has to be a building, certain amount of, it has to be a building with certain amount of stories, so on and so forth. That's how we get civil engineering. That's how we get the buildings we get. Having kids do this kind of stuff, they get excited and eventually grow up to be civil engineers. Yes, it matters. Some Play-Doh, a plate, and some sticks. Yes, it starts here. Okay. So that's third, fourth grade. Then anybody older than that, you need to have them explore the materials. And you need to say, I don't want to tell you what to do, but my teacher tip would be to do an exploratory experience where they get to play with the materials and get an idea. Definitely do a lesson where they have to plan first, draw it, say how many sticks they're going to use. You give them this constraint of whether or not it has to be tall, short, wide, if it needs to use triangles, right? Because especially when you're getting into high schoolers, you want them to be displaying their comprehension of trigonometry and geometry and all that type of stuff, right? Physics, to really give them an understanding of how much mass something can take at the top versus how big the bottom is and how deep the bottom is, right? Because we know buildings have to be, these buildings that we have here in New York City, for them to be as tall as they are, there is a significant amount of highly designed foundation that goes into that. These activities help our children be able to grow up and become brilliant, awesome civil engineers. Brilliant, okay? So yeah, ages fifth grade and up, fifth grade and up, you want them to design and explore the materials, and you want to plan more time for the activity. A lot of times we assume the older the child, the less time they need with it. That is an absolute lie. That's not what we do. Hi, thank you for watching Live with Miss Steph. I am just talking about our DIY engineering activity. You can do this with children as young as 2, all the way up into high school. These are my teacher tips on how to do a simple DIY STEAM activity. And just to quickly review before we exit, I have a plate. I chose a square plate so that when I was working with the pre-K children, I was able to tell them where to put their foundational 4 pieces of Play-Doh. I divided up. I did a lot of guided practice with them. They were able to do it. And then they created their own thing. For children in grades 3 and 4, you can give them certain amount of materials, and your constraints are going to be how tall you want the structure, whether or not you want them to work together in groups. And then they need to then do some type of lab report, right? Some type of reflection on the activity by drawing it, which is an additional challenge for them and still reinforces all of the letters of STEAM. If you really want me to break it down, I can. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. All of the STEAM principles and disciplines are displayed in this activity. This is one of the reasons I like this activity, this type of activity. Okay. Again, you do not have to use name brand Play-Doh. You do not. I prefer it just because it's easier for me to grab instead of like making a bunch of Play-Doh and stuff. That is very time consuming for me when I have so many young people that I'm working with. Making the Play-Doh myself just became cumbersome, and it just didn't make sense. And Play-Doh is actually quite moody. Play-Doh, the science of Play-Doh is very intense, way more intense than people realize. And so, yeah, that's another thing. You can go all the way back especially if you're doing homeschool or if you're working with young children. You can go all the way back and say, oh, we're going to make our own Play-Doh. Use the craft sticks. Yeah, go from there, right? You could even, if you really, really, really want to get into it, you can make your own paper plates. Science. Okay. But yeah, as I was saying, the older you get, you want to make sure that the children aren't doing my big teacher tip would be to make sure that you give the children enough time to design and to make sure they're following within the constraints and respect them enough to make sure that you are grading their designs before and saying, yes, you can go ahead. You have enough planning, right? Because the engineering design process involves a problem or a challenge, build something with said constraints, design it, build it, test it. The test is whether or not it stands up, basically. Most of the time is what is a reasonable test for a fifth grade project. But going into high school, putting different mass pieces on it and all that type of stuff. And then 5 would be redesign. Are there any adjustments that need to be made so that the structure would be more successful? Okay. And of course, writing that down in the laboratory report. Yes, too much Dexter laboratory for Miss Steph. I said that yesterday. My kids were like, what, Miss Steph? I don't know. I'm like, laboratory. Yes. For those who know, if you know, you know. All right. This has been Live with Ms. Steph. I really appreciate you all for coming on, joining me for Live with Ms. Steph. I am Stephanie E. Farmer, founder and executive director of Triple F Empowerment, Inc., former laboratory scientist, turned after-school director, now turned nonprofit founder. I am the founder and executive director of Triple F Empowerment, Inc., and we operate Ms. Steph Science Club. We inspire, empower, encourage young people to pursue education and careers in the STEAM fields. And we do that by providing hands-on STEAM education through camp, classes, community, and consulting. It has been my pleasure to be with you all today, and I will see you next time online. Have an absolutely wonderful day.